All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. I am yours truly, Dr. Pierre, your favorite board certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays, Real Physician Reacts, as well as the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry podcast. This week, first of all, if you are looking to learn a little bit about any type of medical topic or COVID update, this is not the week. So typically, and I started this series probably like a few months ago. I kind of fell off last month, but we're kicking it back in. The first episode of the month is going to be more of a business entrepreneurial slanted episode. So if you're looking to listen and learn about any medically related topic, this ain't the episode. But I got plenty of podcast episodes, videos, blog posts. I got plenty of those if you want to kind of read up on that stuff. But this week, the title is aptly said, like, why your doctor needs to be brand, right? So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to tie in my medical leads, right? I can't never forget that. But more importantly, I'm going to really try to drive home the fact of its level of importance, especially in this day and age. Depending on when you're watching or listening to this episode, year 2022, it is more important now than ever for your physician to establish themselves as a brand and not just the best physician who had the best test scores and did 100 million. Like, yeah, that's okay. That's cool. But like in this day and age, you're going to have to do more to establish yourself as a brand. Why? Because of one word, trust. And as a physician, this is something that we have lost over the years. And by say lost, this is something where before just me being physician was enough for majority of the world to say, you know what? I trust what they say. I believe what they say, and I'm going to follow what they say. But again, unless you're living under a rock, that is no longer the case. Time and time again, you see physicians, scientists, just people with like excellent, brilliant minds continue to be questioned over and over again on their recommendations, their decision-making ability by people who should never be questioning their recommendations or their decision-making ability. But they do so because those physicians, those scientists have not established the trust within that person, the brand of them being whoever they are is not strong enough for them to say, you know what, I'm willing to jump off this bridge because my doctor said so. So I want to kind of give a little, again, backstory, especially if this is your first time hearing this, buckle up. If you've heard this before, you've heard this before. So again, here I am, Dr. Barry Pierre. I'm a board certified internist, right? I have been on social media for the better part of about, 13, 14 years. I started out as just a general blogger within medical school, writing blogs about my day and my classes and whatnot. I didn't even realize what I was doing. Terrible writing. I didn't even know how to write because I didn't know there was like a format to write. Just terrible writing. And I graduated as I moved along my medical career to not only doing live videos where I kind of, educate the community, but to podcasts, YouTube videos. Now I'm doing TikTok. I've been doing this for so long. And the maturation that I've seen over the years has been absolutely amazing. Why? Because I see more and more of my colleagues who didn't do that, right, when they were in medical school, understand as they don't do that now, they're going to be left behind. And what was my motivation? What was my motivation when I decided, you know what, I want to start blogging. I want to start putting out videos. I want to start doing this thing here. Because I've been a guest on several podcasts. And I'll put a link in the show notes for those podcast episodes. But I've been a guest on several podcast shows where I kind of talk about the importance of establishing who you are. Because yes, did great in school, perfect. Great during residency, great. Seen a lot of patients, that's fine and dandy, right? Can I still trust you? Right? That was a question that I realized that I was going to have to continue to answer despite my educational background. Because the general public, for that, it didn't matter. It didn't matter how many poster presentations I did. They didn't care how many patients I took care of during residency. That didn't matter to them. It's who are you and can I trust you? And when I started out outpatient medicine, and by that time I was still kind of doing the blogging thing. That's pretty much it. But I realized very quickly with the patients I was taking care of, I didn't have enough time to take care of them. It just is what it was. The reality of it was is I wanted to spend 30 minutes with every single one of my patients, but I didn't have 30 minutes to spend with every single one of my patients. So even though I'm talking to a patient who I'm just diagnosed with diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, I still got 15 minutes because I got to get you out and I got to go to the next room. So I started out and I jumped. I took a leap and I said, you know what? I'm going to do these videos on during my lunch break, aka lunch and learn. Right? That's the title brought up. So I would do these videos Tuesdays and Thursdays. I would do a video. I'd do it live. I'm on my Facebook. I'm essentially talking to them. There wasn't a lot of people watching me, but I was just talking to myself. But what I would do is that when I would talk about diabetes, I would save the video. When I would talk about hypertension, I would save the video. When I would talk about all these medical related things, I would save the videos and just post them online and say, hey, if you have any, and I talk to my real life patients in front of me. Hey, if you have any questions or concerns, guess what? I just did a 30-minute talk on this. I just did a 45-minute talk on this on my Facebook page. Go ahead and check that out. Watch the video. If you have any questions, you could always, hit me up on Facebook. Again, I'm trying to acclimate my patients to understand that like I am a part of this social media age. So it got to the point where I would get a new patient come in, and before I even saw the patient, knew what the patient looked like, knew the patient's name, they said, hey, Dr. Pierre, I've been watching your videos. I know you're crazy smart, and I can't wait for you to take care of me. So what did I just do there? Videos that I was recording in my office during my lunch break, putting them out there to try to save me some time and educate my patients at the same time. Because like I said, I didn't have the time to talk to them, but I just wanted to educate them. The videos that I put out now were becoming a driving force for me. Now, all of a sudden, people who I did not know were watching those same videos, being educated by the same videos. And I did, without even knowing, I earned their trust. And then mind you, again, it wasn't purposeful, guys. I'll be honest. It was not purposeful. Because I loved my patients and I said, I want to do the best for my patients. This is another route. And again, I like tech. I like being online. Hey, let me do it this way. So in doing that and seeing that the continued success and seeing that all of a sudden I was seeing more and more patients who saw me before I ever saw them, I realized right then and there, oh, you know what? You're onto something. You are onto something. And again, I didn't know what technical thing it was. I just knew that whatever I was doing there was great. And I remember when I first ran into a former colleague of mine, Dr. Dreon Birch, who was my coach, and I joined his mastermind. And he would talk about this. He would talk about having to put yourself out there, having to do this, having to put the work, right? So people know you without you having to know them. And that's when my mindset really expanded. Like it just, because all of a sudden I realized like, yeah, I can be the greatest doctor for my community, but I can't serve everybody face to face. Like I have to be out there where everybody is. I have to be online where everybody is. So not only did I go even further, right, and I went even harder on the videos. Eventually, you know what? A question came out. Hey, do you have just a regular audio format? Boom. Welcome to the podcast. Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, the podcast. Because now I can take the educational tips that I was given to my patients who are watching it on video. But hey, you know what? They want to hear the audio version because they're going to work. They have a long commute to work, but they still want to learn about hypertension. They want to learn about diabetes. They want to learn about COVID. They want to learn about all of these different medical topics here, right? That was just kind of expounding their mind, right? So it was just a phenomenal approach to medicine. And again, and mind you, again, I wasn't the first and I'm not the most branded, not nowhere the site. But it was for me such a significant stepping stone that I couldn't see myself doing it any other way. So when I talk to my colleagues and because they see me, right? A lot of my colleagues see me, they see me online, they hear me. Like, I was just talking to I was in our case manager's office. They listen to my podcast as well too. Like it does something for me again. Like, and I just say, oh yeah, I have a podcast. I don't have to necessarily promote it, but like now, guess what I've done? I'm continuing to earn their trust. I'm continuing to build my brand, right? So that if you see me wear a shirt like this, Empower Yourself for Better Health, for my podcast listeners, you can't see it, but like I have my hoodie, Empower Yourself for Better Health, which you can get at shop.drbarrypierre.com. Shameless plug. But like I do this because I know that like I have enough cachet in the bank so that when I say, hey guys, this COVID, it's something serious, right? I have a good population of people who follow me, whether they follow me on any of my social media platforms, who are going to believe me and listen to me because I've done the work. And when I see my physician colleagues or just my business colleagues in general, when they're making that leap, right, to try to obtain a new follower, obtain a new customer, their biggest hurdle is that they have not built enough trust within themselves, right, to give to that new follower, to that new client to say, hey, this is why you should roll with me, right? My wife, I tell people all the time, is the superstar in the house, right? Y'all just see me a lot, but my wife is really the superstar in this house, right? She CEO, Maria Davis Pierre, CEO of Autism in Black. Like when you think about autism in the Black community, like she's like, she is and will be the gold standard, right? Again, I'm biased, whatever, right? But like it didn't happen overnight, right? Like she had to go online. She had to tell her truth, tell her story. And she had to do it over and over and over again. And she had to do it in multiple different mediums. And then she had to promote herself and be here on Forbes and New York Times. And she had to be at all of these different places, right? Not because she's trying to impress the one person that she wants to impress or impress herself. No, because she understands that if someone is going to believe me, right? If someone is going to trust me, my brand needs to be out there. And when I talk to a lot of my small business friends, right, because I have a lot of colleagues and friends who do small business, right? There's small. I don't hate all of them, but like, whatever. They're small business, right? Because it's just income, right? Because they're not there yet. But when I talk to them, I say like, hey, like if you are not visible, then that means you're not giving me enough opportunity to trust you. And that if you don't get anything else, right? When we talk about the visibility that social media has afforded us, right? It is giving us the opportunity to trust that person. We've all seen an ad where the first time we see the ad, we're like, I don't care about that, right? The second time, whatever, they're going to add again, right? But then the fourth and fifth time, you're like, all right, let me see what's going on over here, right? Because now you're like, your mind is trained at like, well, I've seen this enough. Like they've done enough of a job for me to either be tired of looking at them or for me to say, let me see what they're talking about. Right. And that's how that thought process is. So when you are working to establish yourself as a brand and more importantly, establish yourself as someone who is trustworthy to someone else, right? Someone else, you have to continue to work on being the most visible you can be. And I think as a physician, again, I'll go back to my doctor roots. I think that is what has set us up, for the long, hard road, because we would proactively go against that. Like yeah, remember, I was in medical school. I was online. I was in residency. I was online, right? But it wasn't a very common thing, especially like it is now. Like my new generation of new doctors, I love them. Right? Because they're on social media, they're crazy active, and they're handling their business in the classroom. But they even understand that just handling your business in the classroom during residency is not enough. Right? Because regardless of whatever board specialty you are, if I don't know you, like I don't care. Like it doesn't matter. Right? Like I tell people all the time, board certified internist. Like I tell people, I jokingly say I'm probably a lot of people's favorite internist. But more importantly, I'm probably one of the most recognizable internists for a lot of people. Right? And because I'm one of the most recognizable, right? Like all of a sudden now when I say, hey, COVID is COVID, right? Now, when I say, hey, your blood pressure, I would watch it. Hey, your diet. Like now when I say these things, all of a sudden right? Like the hurdle that someone else who does not know them, some doctor who does not know them, but maybe they went to a Ivy League high medical school and like a kick-ass residency. Maybe they did all those and they presented posters everywhere. Maybe they did all those things there, but they're like a social recluse that just, has an office and is just sitting in a corner. No one knows them. No one knows them. And we cannot, right? I don't want to say do not. We cannot, as a physician, as a small business owner, we cannot afford, right, not to establish ourselves as a brand. It is not taboo. It is not which is, again, another knock that always used to be against us as physicians, is that if we focus a lot on the business aspect of the world around us, right, that we some reason do not care as much about our patient. Nobody loves their patients as much as me. I'll be honest. No one loves their patients as much as me. I say it all the time. But what I'm not going to do is, because I love my patients, act like I don't need to also be about my business, right? What I'm not going to, again, I tell my patients all the time, right? And mind you, I'm in a hospital setting. So even in a hospital, it's difficult, right? Especially when we think about Google reviews, right? Most of your doctors who have like good Google reviews are usually doctors who are outpatient ambulatory medicine doctors who, like, while, like, after the end of their visit, they can say, hey, here's this card. Please leave us a review for our clinic. Like, they can do that. Like I used to do that when I was in a hospital, right? Like, you can ask my docs, right? Like, in the hospital, I was like, hey, is there any way we can set up, like, just a card that I can give one of the patients I take care of in the hospital? Say, hey, if you liked your service, can you just like put in a review? Because, like, and again, like you said, this may be like forward thinking, because you're thinking, why would a doctor who works in a hospital even want those reviews? Reason why I want those reviews is because when I go to take care of your loved one, you are likely going to Google my name. Like, I call families all the time. Hey, it's Dr. Barry Pierre. I know they're writing my name, and they're going to, like, Dr. Barry Pierre, West Palm Beach, right? Like, they're going to Google. Right. And I want, when they Google, right, something good comes up. So again, like I said, I remember it sounded crazy when I first mentioned it. Right. And now I think about it, I probably got to go back into it again, because I kind of slacked off on it. But I'm very big. Right. I am very big on the importance of establishing your brand, because I know that once you trust me, you're going to run through a brick wall for me. Like, once you trust me, you'll do whatever you need to do, right, to take care of yourself, especially under my direction. So again, like I said, I know we're talking a lot, especially just from more of a macro aspect of it, right? But I do want to hark down this fact that as a physician, right, and scientist, whatever, right, like, building a brand should be numero uno. Obviously after you do all your good stuff on your testing and everything else, but establishing your brand, whether you work in a hospital, whether you work in the clinic, right, whether you work for government, like, whatever that is, right, that should be a mindset that should be rolling through, like, constantly. Like, what can I do? What can I do to establish myself? Like, maybe you want to be a person who's on, like, CNN or Fox or what it is as the health expert, right? How do you do that? You have to establish your brand, right? Maybe you want to be on your local news, right? The health, correspondent. Well, how do you do that? You got to establish your brand, right? Maybe you just want to be the best doctor in your local community. Guess what? Like, what is the easiest way to do that? Is that you establish your brand, establish your trust, and then let word of mouth work for you, right? So you don't have to work for it, right? Just short and sweet. Again, you know me, I love these types of talks, right? Again, obviously we could do medical discussions all day, but I love these types of talks, especially in the business motivated standpoint, especially when I could slant it for my docs who I know need it. Like I said, you want to be that best general surgeon, go right and do it, right? You want to be the best cardiologist, keep going. Best dermatologist, keep going, right? And first of all, shout out to Dr. Dulce, right? She's I gotta forget her. In fact, give me a second. I'm gonna tell you her Instagram, because I don't want to shout her out and not mention what her Instagram is. Dr. Dulce. Dr. Dulce, DRDUCE Lcemacarinas, Mascarenas, I think I pronounce it. She's absolutely amazing, right? One of my classmates from Nova Southeastern, and because right when I said dermatologist, I was thinking about like lip injections and everything else, and like that's her thing. Like if you're in South Florida, that's probably and she ain't paid me, so whatever, right? That's the person you probably want to go to, right? And I'll put her link in the description as well, too, man. But again, I ain't gonna hear long talk to you guys again. You guys be blessed. Have a great day. If you got nothing, right? And again, you don't have to be a doctor to tease the importance of this discussion, right? If you're an engineer, build your brand, right? Right. If you're a teacher, build your brand, right? Like whatever you think you are or whatever you want to do, like you have to build a brand, because once you build your brand, you build trust, and then it's like up from there, right? So you guys be blessed. Have a great day, and I'm gonna see you guys next week.